During the period of 2019-2020, the country reported over 18,000 cases that took place within the context of sexual abuse, and in instances where the victim, I would call it, they trusted that environment.
And unfortunately, they're still shy to talk about it. And I wanted to, whoever listened to me, to say, listen, I'm doing this for you. Don't die with a broken heart.
Yeah.
Tell somebody,
Yes.
please.
Yeah.
It's okay to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's okay. And there's so much power in healing.
Yeah.
It's incredible,
Yeah.
that feeling of release, you know?
Yeah.
In a sense, we're all walking around with a trauma.
Yeah.
And you say you don't know if your tears are, have I healed or have I not? But I think what's important to remember is that you can heal from something, but it can still hurt sometimes.
Okay.
And the way I can explain it is like if you have a gunshot wound and the hospital, you patch it up and it's perfect and you recover, and they say, you know, you go through this whole process and it's ups and downs. Some days I feel good, some days I don't.
Greetings to every viewer. It's another beautiful Thursday. Fit Talk with Sindisiwe at SIM. I've got an interesting discussion. I think that I felt I needed to do maybe on my own, and I'll tell you the reasons why I'm doing it on my own. From the last show, which was I was raped, I was violated. One of the major common factors that was there was the fact that people struggled to talk. So in as much as people struggled to talk, it would not even also been possible for me to actually have someone that could assist me in the journey of trying to cover the spiritual aspect of a person that is violated. So I'm going to be covering that. So the objective for tonight or for this evening, it is really to say, what is it when that one body is violated? Does it end with the body or does it extend beyond that? So I'm going to be covering that. And the reason for covering that, it is because the body is more, it looks like the body is more critical, and yet both the body and the spirit of the person, of the survivor, are just as critical. So what we covered earlier was really just what happens to the body and the emotions and the experiences there. But what I want to delve into now is the spiritual implications. In other words, the spiraling that you will always find with people that have gone through a process of being violated. So that's what I'm going to be covering now. I think what becomes very critical is that at the point of the person exerting his power over whether it's a helpless woman, whether it's a fighting woman, ultimately there is a whole human being that is not seen by both of them that is driving the process at the time. In other words, there is a spirit. We are all human beings, are spirits. The body becomes the shell that contains our soul. And I think that is where I really want to delve into tonight, because once the body has been violated, I can go have a shower and I can be wanting to feel like nothing ever happened, and yet my soul has already been severely wounded. So there is an eye that we don't see, which is the spiritual eye, that the perpetrator comes with and the victim does not see this eye, but the moment these two meet, you are already in a process where there is a soul tie that happens right there. Now, when you're speaking of a spiritual soul tie, you all it means in simple language is you become one with the person that you have, in a proper way, you have been intimate with. But in this instance, it is not just a soul tie that comes out of love, that comes out of the desire for both people to engage in what they would have engaged in. But it's a soul tie that comes with all the seeds. Again, these seeds are all spiritual. Not the violator knows them, and neither the survivor would know about these particular seeds. Now, what becomes very critical is that a human being, when we had Leilani on, she was talking about the power, the resilience that comes from her inner being, which means the spirit man, though her body was violated, the spirit man of Leilani could not be violated. Okay? And if the spirit is not violated, then it means at any given point in time in the journey of either healing or dragging the healing, however long that journey takes, there is 100% possibility and ability that the spirit is not what gets raped, the spirit is not what gets violated, but it is the soul. And what I wanted to emphasize here is that the soul is not in charge of the spirit. In other words, I sit here, I'm wearing my t-shirt, it says I was violated, I could have been violated, but that violation becomes just another testimony, just another experience, just another bouquet of my life, but it does not define who I am, because the violation did not happen at the spirit level. And I'm hoping that somebody who has gone through this is listening, because now there is two human beings. Once Mr. So-and-so has done what he has done, when he leaves you there, he does not leave you there with his spams all over the show. In you, go clean up, and if you're lucky, he does not kill you. He does not leave that only. He lives his entire being that drove him to go do what he did. Now, right there, we are talking soul tie. We are talking spiritual seeds that you cannot know. But these seeds, unfortunately, or fortunately, we are able to see them when the person has been through a process of violation. When I was speaking with the team earlier, you could tell that other people compensated by overly being nice, other people, but you can never compensate this thing forever. And I will tell you that in that little moment of wanting to what did I call it? To compensate, yes. That compensation, it is the spiritual light, the candle that is in your heart, that is in your spirit man, that is able to face the bigger giant, to face the things that if this thing was done when you were young, the older you become, the seeds grow with you. So what am I really saying here? The perpetrator comes with everything that he is. If it was lust that was driving him, you will attract. So he deposits a spirit of lust in you. You will not necessarily lust after man, but man will be attracted to you. As a result of that, people that have been violated one time, it's very rare that that violation ends at one time. When you can speak to many of them, I remember that one of the comments that was spoken by Leilani when she was here was, she actually discovered that her perpetrator had not done it the first time. The same way that the perpetrator repeats it to some women, it is the same way that he leaves the very same spirit to the woman. And that is why people that have been violated against their will sexually, you will find that uncle starts or a cousin starts, but a stranger that does not know that they were actually violated, a stranger finds it very easy to violate them. Why is that? It is because when the perpetrator comes, he does not come alone. He comes with all his filth. And with time, these things multiply and they begin to show themselves in, for an example, the cycle that then does not stop up until that thing that says I'm compensating realizes that I actually don't need to compensate. I need to face the journey for what it was and what it has done to me to the point where I'm at. So you've got two human beings now. At the victim level, there's two human beings. The human being can either be a victim or they can be a survivor. Now, again, we may say, why do you want to become a victim? You will become a victim, but at a particular point, you were not violated at your spirit, man, and you are able to change who you are. You are able to change the night, that unfaithful night. We are able to challenge that experience because your spirit man could never be violated, but your soul, which is your seat of emotions, is what gets violated. So over time, grantedly so, the victim has got to graduate from being a victim to becoming a survivor. Now, the victim has a mentality that says, I will never be able to get out of this. And the survivor says, I can, I survived this. Now, when you are the victim, you are helpless. When you are the survivor, you have something in you that says, I have what it takes to deal with what happened to me. When you are a survivor, there is a view or a perspective that says, I am actually a survivor from all aspects. I am a survivor from the fact that I could have been dead, but I'm not dead, I'm alive. While the mentality of a victim says, I remain powerless all my life, I can't even say, I can't even tell. So the victim is logged, and in that being logged, the victim is no longer logged alone. He is logged with the soul tie of the perpetrator. And I wish people can hear me, because when we keep on saying, get to that point where you tell, go to that point where you can write and say, I was violated. Come on, who is not? You know the perspective that says, life is not fair with everybody. The truth of the matter is, everyone who has their 2 feet has gone through stuff. We're not even talking stuff that happens when you are strong enough to be able to stand against it. I'm a man, I'm a woman, I can take decisions. Real crap, filthy stuff happens to helpless children. And that helpless child and that crappy thing that happens to them never defines them. It never defines who they are. So I'm saying that what the victim never knows is that as long as they are a victim, then they are embracing all the junk that the perpetrator brought on that particular day. Okay, so when you're a victim, you are sorry, ne? You cry, you are sensitive, you are just super in everything. The older you become, the super you become, the older you become. Now there isn't a single rapist who goes out there with all smiles and all love under the sun. They must tie you, they must pin you down, they must exert a lot of force. All of that, all of the totality of that man gets left at your soul level. So there is hate that's there. Then there is power. Issues of power are there. Okay? This person takes your power. And as this person takes your power, you grow up and all you are wanting to do in life is to show that you are powerful. But your desire for power is not a normal desire for power. We are still compensating for what the perpetrator does. If you've never told anybody, there is so much anger because you have violated, something precious was taken from you. As long as you have not confronted the fact that that which was taken from you was precious, believe you me, as you grow up, as you mature in life, you will see the following things. One, very entitled. Why is the reason of entitlement there? It's because something that was mine was taken from me. Something that I cherished was taken from me. So I am entitled to a proper life, but my life to be proper can no longer be proper because I've been logged as a victim. Okay? I'm angry. I'm angry because I didn't consent to it. And as long as I did not consent to it, then anger is a part of my life. It's a junk that I'm left with. And we do know that what anger does, it just gives birth to bitterness. It gives birth to, I've already spoken about entitlement. It gives birth to even jealousy. I can't live my life. You cannot live your life because we have not dealt at the level where no one can see, but you can, and you can decide. Difficult as it may be, but you need to understand that when your soul level is messed up, you will have a messed up life. The other thing that I think is critical is that a survivor's thinking is one that says, the same power at which he fought me, I will fight back. That's the survivor spirit. Now, it's almost like the survivor spirit gets to saying, in the same manner that I fought on that day, and though he overpowered me, I will arise again. That is a mentality of a survivor. I will arise again. Now, what becomes very critical is that when that spirit arises, though the mess was done at the soul level, it is only the spirit of man in agreement with the Spirit of God that the soul where the mess was done can actually be undone. The survivor confronts the day, the smell, the time, and everything else. And when they confront it, they are not confronting it because it was a good experience, but they are confronting it to say, crap happened here, and I will not be defined by the crap that happened here. Because if I don't deal with this, the cycle does not stop. The cycle has got to be broken at some particular point. Now, as I've already said, that they are likely to be raped again. All of them. All of them. It's very rare to get a person who's a survivor who has been touched one time. It's very rare. Because the cycle and the spirit that the perpetrator left on you has not been confronted. So therefore, it is very much alive and it is dictating what you need to do. A lot of insecurity will come from people that have been raped, because it's almost like anxiety, and that anxiety is a given because They did not call for what truly just happened. But the truth of the matter is there is not a single human being who was born to be looking at the back of their shoulders all the time. So I am saying that while being violated, while being abused in whatever form is not a thing that we invite, but I am saying that it would be a lie. I would be a liar if I can say to you that it is something that cannot be confronted and be dealt with. And the reason it can be dealt with, it is because it is not your spirit that gets raped, but it is your soul, it is your body, and your soul, your emotions can still be, you can still journey back. You can still journey back with those emotions and decide that these were emotions for the day, and at some particular point they've got to stop. You can challenge your psychological thinking and say, how innocent I was, however else you want to deal with the emotional part, the psychological part. I want to say that the physiological part also can be messed up if the violation happened when you were still young. But the truth of the matter is, even your physiological part does not remain the same as you grow, which means even though the event did happen, it is a lie from the pit of hell to say that it is undoable. You may not undo the experience, but you can decide to be above the experience when you decide to say, shit happens to everybody. And if it happens to everybody, then it means this was my portion. And if it was my portion, maybe I need to look for other mates that went through the same, and we can begin to speak, and I can begin to know as to how did they heal, because I'm still struggling to heal, you know. But what happens there, what makes it possible, I am still emphasizing, it is your spirit man that is in charge of who you are. And when that spirit man is allowed to take charge, it will confront the emotions, and emotions cannot be what we are driven about. We cannot be sad just because we have been in a space where we don't understand. You know, you can be sad today, but human beings are not designed to be unhappy all the time. But when you don't attend to your soul, you are enlarging the territory of somebody that came. Yes, they stole, but what if you change your perspective? What if your perspective is one that says, I want to be made whole again? What if your perspective is one that says, am I the only one that went through what I just went through? What if your perspective says, I think there is help out there, and I'm going to do everything possible under the sun to go and get that help? Because when you begin to get to that position, then you will be able to undo this that you yourself don't understand. I was speaking to somebody in the week. It's just amazing how you can be given an assignment, an instruction, go deal with this matter, where this person says to me, you are the first person that I have had to tell the details at which I have told you. And I asked, does Mama know? And she said, no. But the pain I have lived, the mess, the repeat of this thing, it got to a point where I just knew I expected it to happen. And we get what we expect. When we begin to imagine that fear, that fear just repeats itself. So all I am saying today is that over and above that one moment where somebody gets gratification without your consent, there is way deeper stuff that goes in there. And if you do not get to that point of speaking about it, you are not helping yourself. I liked the discussion that I think I had with Leilani when she said, when she got the courage, she spoke to family. Speaking to family is critical because you may find that the violator is in the family. So if you do not tell your mother, your cousin, your father, however else, by the way, the perpetrator will say, don't tell because nobody must know. But the truth of the matter is that he cannot say nobody because you are already a person that has gone through the stuff, which means now there is somebody that already knows. But they will come and threaten you and say, if you repeat, if you tell, I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, and if you keep quiet, I won't do it again. But the same person, they cannot honor their words because in themselves as well, it's just a whole mess that needs to be helped. The residues of what is left is bigger than that one-time event. And I want you at home to begin to weigh the survivor weighs what has been lost, and the victim never gets to weigh it. When you can weigh what has already been lost, if it's 20 years of your life, that's a shadow because of what has happened. You have already lost the 20 years. You can never regain it back. But you can put salt on a wound when you do not tell, because the perpetrator, if he is in the yard, that perpetrator will not stop by you only. That perpetrator will go to that girl, will go to that one, to that one. And my question is, would you rather live with the knowing that he is destroying more people, as opposed to you knowing that when he did it with me, though tough, though threatened, he had already done it. He did not say to you, I'm going to do this with you. And he never negotiated. He never begged, you know. You are the one that has been begging and crying. Would you rather feel good that 4 other women are being violated while you could have reported the guy and the person possibly could have been jailed within the necessary time? So a survivor begins to say, what happened to me cannot afford to happen to my cousin. It cannot afford to happen to my mom. It cannot afford to happen to my sister. But a victim says, they messed me up. We might as well all be messed up. That is why when you find the people that have got, at some particular point, there was a whole notion that if you have a particular disease, the more you sleep around, it's the more we are saying, he brought the disease to me. And because he brought the disease to me, I might as well just sleep around, knowing very well that the more I sleep around is the more I am infecting many people. What am I saying to you? There is a way out. It is a lie to think that there is no way out. There is a way out. Your spirit man was not raped. Your spirit was not raped. But your body was violated. And that violation can be confronted for what it is. It was a violation. When you are violated, you don't plan to be violated. So therefore, this whole guilt and the shame, it's all part of what the perpetrator brings. The perpetrator brings, this can't be spoken, because he also knows that he cannot just rape you in public. He knows he will be jailed. So whatever psyche that is crazy that he brings, that crazy psyche is going to be left with you. My question is, do you want to live a life that is half-baked? Do you want to live a life where Mr. So-and-so can just carry on because Mr. So-and-so has threatened you when you know that during a particular time, when he goes to that room, he's going for another 15-year-old that is sleeping in that room? Does it make you feel better? If it does not make you feel better, you have already been violated. Your only way out, your only way to heal is to know that what he touched can be cleaned. What he touched can be made whole again. But who will make it whole again? The perpetrator won't make it whole again. You possibly, I don't want to say you possibly cannot, but you will not make it whole again when we are still referring to it as an incident. We were with Leilani earlier, and she said for the past 27 years, she kept on saying, an incident, an incident. And when you speak about it from afar, so that people can never know that this thing actually happened to you, even if you can speak about it, you have not confronted it because you have not associated, we are speaking in riddles about it. Survivors are always ready to walk all the way and to weigh all the pros and the cons. A survivor will know that they will not remain. If they were raped at 12, they know they cannot remain at 12. They know life does not change. The timelines of God never change just because I was violated. If it was a Saturday, it doesn't mean that I get stuck on that Saturday forever. But I can go back to that Saturday and say, what truly happened here? Now, it gets even worse when you're a person that knows the truth. And when I talk truth, I'm talking about what really sustains human beings. It's nothing else but God. So when you know that truth, that there is a God, that others never even, their bodies are never even discovered. If they are discovered, the perpetrator just gives you an opportunity to go bury your person. How much more when you get to the realization that I could have been dead, but I was kept alive. Now, what do you want to do with that being alive? Do you want to be alive and be an angry human being? A person who feels they steal everything that is mine. A person who feels they rob me of my life. A person who feels they rob me of opportunities. The truth of the matter is, it's not them out there that are robbing you, but it is because this matter has been referred to as a matter your immediate family does not even know. I happened to listen to one story where somebody said she told the dad, and the dad physically went and just killed this man. As to what happened to the body of that man, nobody knows. And I asked her, how did you feel? Apparently the dad came back and said, how do you feel now that I have fixed the bastard? And this child said, I am the happiest right now. So I am not advocating that we must go tell and go fix it. The law is there to help, us to fix the matter. But I'm saying that there is a level of relief that you can never ever compare the day you begin to say, I will walk this journey. It doesn't matter how old you are. As I close, when you are single, you will get married. Trust me, you will not be able to keep that marriage. If you don't tell the man, let the man know earlier. If you lose him, just because you have told him your story, I think the truth is, did he really ever loved you? So let there be not too much things that bottle you and bottle the experience to the point that you are not able to speak about it. It can even get worse. I know that this one happens whether you've been molested or not. The same spiritual war that you go through can also go through via your very own dreams. I know that I've spoken a lot about spiritual husbands, spiritual wives. So you could be married and have a partner, and the other partner does not know that you have a partner. Can you see how crazy this thing is? It will not even allow you, if you have been quiet about the source of it all. When marriage by God's grace is given unto you, the same thing will say you must keep quiet. And when you keep quiet, this man, this woman happens to be a partner, but this thing will say, just keep quiet that you are sleeping with somebody at night. It doesn't have to be anyone you know. You will know when there is a visitation at night. And if you cannot tell the person that you can't even wait for the next morning, you've got to shake and say, hey puti, hey baba, mama, wake up. There is a prayer that we need to make because there is a visitation. These partners, the spiritual soul ties that happen through violation, they bring a whole basket of junk. But I'm saying that if you are still alive, you can take one at a time, one item at a time, up until you are fully healed. Who heals you? Nobody can heal you. The same God that made your perpetrator not to kill you is the same God, if you tell, that will heal you. I'm going to say something very fundamental as I close. The perpetrator says, this is between me and you. And indeed, you think I can solve it in the corner. Let me help you. You will not solve the fact that you could not solve it on that day. You cannot solve it on your own. That is why we have people around us. We have our family. We have our parents. We have people that love us. We have the professionals. But I always say, how do you tell a professional until you really have told the people that are around you? But then you'll hear the victim saying, I can't because for the sake of peace. But there is no peace because you are in turmoil already. But you can decide to cut that turmoil. You can decide to be healed. The same way in which it came, in the same manner, it can be challenged. And as you are listening at home, the enemy, that man, those men, they did not, they cannot, they could not touch your spirit. And power in you is not on the flesh, but power is in your spirit. When you call unto that spirit that saved you on the day, that same spirit, which is the spirit of Jesus, is the only spirit that is able to undo what the enemy would have done. I hope you have been helped. Silence is not the answer. Talking in riddles is not the answer. I think when we were with the earlier team, Christine spoke about the ins and the outs, the ins and the outs. Constant fear. Where there is love, there is no fear whatsoever. I am not saying love the perpetrator, but I am saying how I pray as I'm speaking that many women can get to the point where Leilani said, for the first time as I'm sitting here, I wish I could actually meet with Frankie and I will ask him one question, which means that she has allowed herself to journey to that point where the spirit is so much in power that it is willing to say, you soul, you emotions, you psychology of mind, you insecurities, you all else. People that have gone through this thing, they just become all else. Today they are hype, very happy. Tomorrow they are at their lowest. And the people that are around them, They just never know how to fully and comprehensively be able to deal with them. You can't decide. You can't decide to be fully made whole. And I'm talking from experience. There's a lot that I've gone through in life. People ask, why did you not get crazy? Why did you not get into a mental hospital? I could not, because whatever that happened in my life, it happened where my eyes could see, where my flesh could feel. I could become very angry. I want revenge. I want all of that. But I sit here, I am as free can be. And the reason is because I faced the reality, but I did not face the reality with the emotions. I faced the reality with the truth. And if you can face your reality with the truth, you will know that you never went to strategize on that day, but that day happened to you. But if it happened to you that time, it has no power, it has no right to continue happening to you now. So make the decision. What you went through could be much more costly going forward. When you replicate the number of women raped when you were the first victim, you cannot feel any good about that. So all I'm saying is there is a way, and what is key that you must know today is that your spirit was never raped, but your soul, your body, is what we can fix. And the one who saved you on that day is the one who will allow and assist in the journey of total healing. I hope you are blessed. Thank you. Stay blessed.